This is a picture taken in South Africa from a drone. You can see two basically different worlds living side by side, separated by a road. On the left, you see like big houses, lots of green trees. On the right, like tiny houses. They are actually shacks. There's no green whatsoever, no swimming pools. And these differences are not only visual. So if you are born on the sort of wrong side of the road, your life is likely to be like very different from what will be if you're born on the other side of the road. So if you live on the wrong side, so on the poor side of the road, so you will likely study less years, have access to worse schools, live less years as well, so you will die younger. You will also be sicker more often on average, and when you get sick, the type of hospitals and healthcare that you will have access to in general will be of worse quality, and you will earn much less, so around 20 times less than on the other side. And so on the left side, on the side, the green side, you're likely to own a computer and all the amenities we are normally used to. On the right side, you are very unlikely to own a computer or things like that. So this is South Africa, and the differences are very strong. But if you go closer to home, like in Dublin, for example, you can also see like very stark differences. This is a picture of census data on ownership of computers in a part of Dublin around the Grand Canal. I don't know if you know that area. So there's like the darker shaded areas are places where people own lots of computers. The lighter shaded areas, people own fewer computers. So this, for example, is an area of social housing. And there, around 40% of the households own a computer. When this is a sort of fancy new Grand Canal area where around 90% own a computer. So the differences are not as big as in South Africa, but they are very big. And if you walk around the two areas, I used to play soccer in a football pitch here in this social housing area. If you walk around, you see the differences, and they are very striking. So this course and this module is going to be discussing these differences. And if you start thinking hard about these differences, there are lots of questions that come up. And we are going to be discussing these questions. The first is about distributive justice. Are these differences unfair? Is it unfair that the difference that we see in South Africa, are they unfair? Those that we see in Dublin, in the Grand Canal, are they fair or unfair? Are they justified? Why? How can we think about it? Like, what are the criteria that would make these differences fair or unfair? This is one part. But there are other things. So because we talk about computers and okay, that's useful, but generally, how big are the differences? How can we think about these differences? Where are these differences big and where are they small? And where is Ireland? Is Ireland like very unequal? We know that South Africa is very unequal indeed. And there are some countries like the Nordic countries that are less unequal. But how about Ireland? How about continental Europe? And how have they evolved, these differences, this inequality? Is it true? Everyone talks about the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, but is that true? Is that true everywhere? Is it true when we look back like 20, 30 years? Is it true when we look back like 200 years? All these things we're going to see. And to be able to make this type of statements, we need to know how we measure inequality. And it turns out it's not totally straightforward, and we will also look into that. But a long time of the module will be spent talking about what causes these differences, who becomes rich and who becomes poor and why. Does family background matter a lot? Or is it all about your choices and what the efforts that you make and what you want to become? Or are you basically doomed from where you are born? And also like the causes of inequality in another respect, like what makes inequality in some places be very big and in others to be very small, and what has caused like changes in inequality in recent times, and what are like the big historical changes that we have observed, and what causes them. What type of world are we living in now? Is it special in any way? Is it particularly equal, particularly unequal? And then we also want to know about what are the consequences of inequality. Does it matter? Does it matter beyond questions of fairness or unfairness? Does it matter if a country is equal or unequal? Is there, I don't know if you've heard of it, but a phrase that was very common is equity efficiency trade-off, right? So either you have efficiency or you have equality. Is that true or not? And what are the consequences of inequality, not only economic for growth and efficiency and so on, but also non-economic for health, for crime? And then finally, what can be done about it? If we think that in the end the differences are too big, what should be done about it? And this brings us to issues of redistribution. Like, should we tax more the rich? There should be more spending on education. What should we do about it? So all these questions, they are all hard questions. We're going to look into them in the module on economics of inequality, EC315. And we will look at some theories, and we will look at a lot of empirical evidence and do a lot of discussion about these things. Thank you.